It took a while for me to decide on a dock for my Steam Deck. I mean, there's a bunch of them out there, and technically you don't even need a dock for the Steam Deck because you can use any USB-C hub to go ahead and do video output from your Steam Deck to a monitor or a TV. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff out there. You have iVoler who makes a bunch of docks. Even JSOX makes a bunch, and I mean a lot of docks for the Steam Deck, and they're pretty popular too. You can go on YouTube and just search Steam Deck dock and you can probably see a bunch of people recommending that. But in the end, I decided to go with Valve's Steam Deck docking station. And the reason behind that is actually because of a video that Wolfden made. He actually had a video where he was having an issue with the Steam Deck outputting, or the Steam Deck dock rather, outputting video to his monitor. The next day, Valve actually contacted him and let him know that the update was fixed in a firmware update. And I think that's something that sold me, because I know if I got Valve's docking station, I wouldn't really have to worry about anything. You see, Valve's docking station has something that the others don't, and they have, I don't know how it works, but basically there's firmware updates for this. They'll fix issues and gain actually new features such as VRR, which is not yet available at the time of this video, but it is coming soon. And if you don't know what VRR is, definitely I would recommend looking it up because it is very useful, especially for something like the Steam Deck that has frame rates that can fluctuate everywhere. Now the Steam Deck dock has a bunch of ports on the back. It comes with 3 USB-A 3.1 Gen 1 ports, a Gigabit Ethernet port. It has DisplayPort 1.4 and HDMI 2.0. Supports up to 4K 60Hz or 1440p at 120Hz. With FreeSync coming very soon, which is, VRR, which I mentioned earlier. Also allows you to go ahead and do multi-monitor support as well, which for the Steam Deck, I don't really know why you would do that, but hey, it's going to be a feature there for sure. Input, you're going to have USB-C power delivery pass-through. That'll allow you to charge the Steam Deck while using it, and it also has a 6-inch USB-C captive cable at 90 degrees, which is basically the little cable that's at the top that goes ahead and plugs into the Steam Deck itself. Now the neat thing about that top piece is it has a little, like, I don't know what you would call it, like a little angle here. Makes it very easy to take off, which is nice. And it being a 90-degree cable means that it doesn't have to bend or anything like that, which is really convenient. Now you might be asking yourself, what's the point of having a Steam Deck dock, right? The Steam Deck was really designed with portability in mind, so when it comes to the specs, it's not really great at outputting higher resolutions. Well, for me, I only have one PC in the house currently, and that's the one that's in my office. I use that both for streaming and also for playing games, right? But I'm not always in my office. There's times I want to be in my living room, which is actually downstairs at the 2nd floor. And I definitely don't want to go ahead and carry my PC around and move it over to the next room. So I got the docking station so I can plug that in to the TV, well, plug in the Steam Deck rather, to the TV and allow me to play the same games. For example, when Resident Evil 4 comes out, I am getting it on PC, so I can play it on PC, I'm gonna stream it as well as day one. But there's gonna be times I wanna play that not on my PC, I wanna play it, somewhere else. And the docking station comes in handy for that because I'll be having it downloaded on the Steam Deck and it'll allow me to go ahead and play that on the TV. Similar to the Nintendo Switch, I can easily go ahead back and forth and plug it into any bigger display and play that on a bigger TV. I guess the only downside is the limit of the Steam Deck. I have a 4K TV and definitely the Steam Deck's not going to really output 4K. I mean, it technically can because both the HDMI and the DisplayPort do support 4K 60. It's just the Steam Deck doesn't have the power to output that, if you know what I mean. But I can still play it at lower frame rates, enable FSR, and try to pull out a little bit more juice. Of course, the TDP will be able to be a lot more stronger or at a higher wattage, which will allow for more power output, because typically with the Steam Deck I usually play it a lot lower. I try to keep it around 7-ish and below, so it's not draining a lot of battery. Another thing that's great about having a docking station, it actually makes it great for emulation. So you can kind of blow up all those emulations on a bigger screen and play stuff such as CMU and all the other stuff that's out there. Now so far I haven't really had any issues. I know some other people, such as I believe it was Retro Game Core, I believe he had an issue where I think his Steam Deck dock was not charging or something like that. Can't remember. It was a video he did on that, and I believe he was having some issues with his. I would say, I guess maybe the only thing that actually happened, the day I'm recording this video, I saw this, and I had my Steam Deck plugged in to my, of course, the USB-C port in the docking station. And for whatever reason, it wasn't outputting power. I had to actually wiggle the cable and it was allowing it to charge. So I don't know if my USB-C is faulty or if this is faulty. I guess we'll see. After I record this video, I'll be doing a little bit more testing to see that, because if anything, I might have to RMA it or something and let them know at Valve that something's wrong with this. But other than that, I haven't had any issues. I know a lot of people were saying that, like, when it's plugged in, for some reason you have to unplug it and plug it back in for it to recognize. That hasn't happened to me yet. If I keep it in the dock and I just turn it on, it'll automatically show up on my TV. So I never really had any issues with that. There is one tip I would like to say though. When you start a game, you want to make sure you actually go into the menu button, and I believe it's under compatibility. You're going to want to go ahead and change it so that when it goes to display resolution, you're going to want to set a custom resolution to whatever display you have, because by default it's set to the Steam Deck's native resolution. So anytime you boot up a game and you don't go ahead and change that, it's going to boot up at 800p or whatever the settings you have there, and it won't allow you to go ahead and go any higher. Honestly, for me, I recommend not going any higher than 1080p unless it's an older game or like an indie game, or not even an indie game, but like a lower end game. Man, that sounds really bad when I say lower end game. Something like pixel art, right? It really depends on the graphical style for it. If you're going for something, let's say like the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters, you could run those at higher resolutions with no issues. But if you're doing something like Uncharted Lost Legacy, for example, definitely would have played at a higher resolution. I actually tested it out my 4K TV and it struggles to hit 1080p at 30 FPS. The Steam Deck docking station from Valve does cost $89. I believe it had a $10 increase, because I remember when I was first looking at it, it was only $79. But it is $89, and I guess the benefit of it is that it does come with another USB-C charging cable, which is I believe about $25 if I'm not mistaken. So I think it averages out, because if you buy a JSOC stock, you still have to buy the USB-C charging brick separate. So to me, I think it's worth the money. And like I said, with the firmware updates that you'll be getting on the dock, I think it's well worth it. Again, going back to that video that Wolfden did, seeing that they can go ahead and update it because it had issues, kind of gives me that peace of mind that if something ever goes wrong in the future, I know that Valve will go ahead and update any type of firmware that's in the dock to fix those issues. And as well as you have VRR coming in the future, which I'm very excited for, that will help out with the frame rates going all over the place. But yeah, I highly recommend the Steam Deck docking station. Let me know in the comments below, are you going to pick one of these up, or do you already have another docking station? Definitely let me know. I'd like to see what docking stations or USB-C hubs you are playing around with. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube, and also don't forget to follow us over on Twitch. Like I said, we do live streams 4 days out of the week. We also have our podcast, aka the Random Encounter Podcast, every Sunday. My name is James from the Random Encounter, and we'll see you next time.